So the question is, what are the essentials? Well, where did they come from? Is I got lit up in 1993 after going to the Center for Creative Leadership, which is known as the Harvard of Leadership Institutes. They're still around today, and all four-star generals from our military go down to this. Tons of big companies send their CEOs and leaders to this place. I went there when I was a punk 34-year-old. I remember the four-star general, a division of GM, had the guy that ran the Tennessee Valley Authority, and I forget the others, but there were like 20 people, and I was the young punk. And I learned more about myself in a week than I had cumulatively learned in 34 years. And I was like, I want to do what these people do. Like, that was the minute where I just was like, someday I'm going to start my own company. It's going to be called Built to Lead. We're going to go out and build leaders, because this really got me lit up. So I walked in there, went back, told our CEO I was the guinea pig for the company to go. And I said, send everybody. So that was the best week of my life. He said, no, it's too expensive. And I said, okay, then let me start our own Leadership Institute. Let me figure this out. Let me start to study and build our own program here for CompuServe. So he said, yeah, you can do that. And so that's when I began to figure out, what are the essentials of leadership? And what makes people tick? Why are there so few outstanding teams? Why is it so hard to transcend the founder? Why do so few systems live beyond the individual or the few team leaders that started it? And so that's where the whole idea, knowing me a little bit that you do, I started reading everything and I didn't like anything. I'm like, I read everything I could, I still am. And I'm like, that's shit. That's freaking bullshit. Oh my God, that is so bad. I can't even believe this guy's getting paid to write that. And I just was like, this is ridiculous. And I kept thinking that go back to the Bible. Go back to ancient teachings. That's the real stuff. That's leadership 101. It's not anything new. And all these people putting new spins on it, I just kept going back to ancient texts, ancient wisdom, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, you know what I mean? Confucius, Jesus, all these, and most of them didn't write anything, we wrote about them. So I just started reading all of that, again, with the idea of thinking about leadership. And I began to then start to parcel out, okay, here's what I believe. And so I wrote, how do we become personally excellent? And I wrote what I think are the 12 essentials. The first one is really the only essential of the 12. The 11 other ones just are spokes on the wheel. They eventually, when you go fast enough and you get strong enough, you won't even see them. It'll be like a blur. They'll all be one. But you got to start with building that core, that hub, and then you start to build the spokes off of them. So that's sort of the way the whole concept came and the visual came, was what's the key to becoming exceptional as an individual? Well, it's figuring out, like, who are you? What are your unique abilities? Why are you here? What are the names you call yourself? What are your principles? Do you have them? Do you know what you love? Because I believe in a God that designed us all in love, for love. So I believe you got to figure out your love twos, your passions. And then those lead you to your big whys, your purposes, like, why are you here? Where do you want to go? And then the last piece of that's the process of marrying your own playbook of productive action to get there. So all the 12 essentials of personal excellence really start and stop with that.
And last thing can you give me
Well, I'm just getting warmed up. I haven't even started.
That's the next version. This is just an intro video.
Yeah.
The essentials.
Well, let me just add one more thing, because Dirk tried to interrupt me and I'm not ready to stop. So that once you build the core, the next essential is really paramount. Okay? Do you know what that is, Daniel?
Not yet.
Okay. So the thing that we do is we help all of our clients build personal excellence. We want them to build in all the 12, but we focus on the core first and foremost. Once they start to get really strong in their core, they figure out who they are, why they're here, where they're going. They get a clear opus, an aim for their work and their life. They get lit. It's so fun. Then I take them into the humility essential. And I rub their nose in it, like I rub my own in it. And I'm like, okay. And just remember, the stronger you get, the more likely you are to start to believe your bullshit and think you're God and think you don't need anybody else. And you can do it on your own. You're self-made, for crying out loud. That's when you're going to really fall. And so when we study history with greatness, the world over, the biggest enemy of their greatness was themselves. They torpedoed themselves. History just shows us this over and over, and whole peoples destroy themselves because they start to think they're better than everybody else. I mean, this is the truth for individuals, for companies, for communities, for countries. So that second essential, building humility. And then the third one we get to, which is your courage. But you cannot skip over building humility. And most people do. Most people don't have any truth tellers around them that tell them, hey, slow down, partner. Like, we need to really humble ourselves. We need to realize this is not about us. There is a bigger story here. And so, I mean, I believe all 12 essentials are essential. So someday we'll go through them all. But they are in order. So they absolutely are in rank order in my mind. And that second one is the most misunderstood one. Most people think of humility as weakness. Humility is real strength. It is, without it, none of this current strength will last.